do? What do you want so burning in your body that you have to do this? You have to be passionate about it because no one else will tell you you can do what you're doing. Everybody will tell you you can't. Tony said, you've got to be passionate about this. And if you are, then you are in the right place and you should be here. And if you can't keep that focus with all the tricks we're trying to tell you, go do something else. It's honorable to have a job, but there's only a certain type of person that wants to be in this room and serious about being an entrepreneur. It is a life like no other. I can't go back. I love this. You can see it in me. It's not for everyone. Okay. Number 3, if you're in a lab and you have no customer specification in front of you, please don't go back to the lab tomorrow morning. Don't we talk about this? Go to a phone tomorrow morning, find a prospect, find a potential customer, talk to them, go have coffee, and get a spec from a customer who will pay for something before you buy what you think they will, because you're wrong. They won't buy it. If I was wrong, I wouldn't be here trying for the 3rd time. And there are many entrepreneurs who are like that, especially our technical guys. God, I love them. They make the products, but they won't do what the customer wants because the customer's wrong. The customer's right, the customer's the one who's going to pay you your money. So go talk to a customer first. Then come back to the lab and build what they want you to do, and they'll pay for it. And if you don't like what they're doing, and you like it, they don't like it, it doesn't follow what your passion is, go find another customer, or go find another job. Number 4, you are your company's best sales rep. Tony talked about this. It's not buying a salesperson, it's not buying a sales. You with your passion. If you think you can't sell, don't matter. You can sell because of your passion. We'll get through all else as an entrepreneur, but you have to go learn how to sell. Or just go and talk to people. You've got to get over that, and you've got to sell it first. Once you get some money coming in, then you can do all the trials and tribulations of having a sales force. A bunch of whiners. I was one for 20 years. As I said before, my biggest high was my first check. Well, there are other emotions I've had in my life that are big, but in this business, as an entrepreneur, biggest high. And go and sell something before you open your bank account. Go and sell something before you incorporate your company. You don't have to be incorporated. You don't have to have a bank account to sell your first check. Go get the check. There's no reason. I did that for my first 2 companies, spent all sorts of money. That's why I had to go back to work for 5 years to pay off all the bills, because I didn't have a check to pay it off. You get the check today, you incorporate on the net for $200 tomorrow, you get your terms, your articles of incorporation, you go to the bank the next day, you open your bank account. The check doesn't stay on date for 6 months. You're fine. You can put it in. That's the way I did it. The 3rd time, the time that I'm doing now, the right way, that's what I want. You don't have to. Don't. The lawyers are turning over their brains. Yeah, I know. You don't have to. Everybody has an attitude. Number 6, in the morning. Every one of us, some people say some others have more attitude than others. Every day we have an attitude. When you get up in the morning, set your own. Because if you don't, someone else will set it for you. So why not set it with your passion? If you don't subscribe to a Thought of the Day website now, go subscribe to a Thought of the Day website. When you open your email, that's the first email you read, and that will set your objective. So if you can't think of anything, that'll help you. Don't let someone else set your attitude for the day, because it'll be negative, because it always is negative. Number 7, have a goal sheet, write it down every day. I've got to move ahead. There's my goal sheet. I look at it every day. There are 30 columns. I check it off twice a day. Here's what my goal is. I'm not a task-oriented person. My personality is not one to be focused. I hate that word, but I've had to be if I'm going to survive. So I have a goal sheet, I look at it, I write down my goals, I review it every year. The difference between successful people and non-successful people, the majority of successful people have written down their goals and review them every day. Number 8, your brain has been stuffed with more garbage than you can possibly imagine. Most of the good stuff and almost all the bad stuff was put there by your family. Not by school or friends or work. You have to stop listening to the negative self-talk and the negative voices, or they'll get to you. So now the bad stuff. You will be under severe stress. You will run a great risk of becoming mentally ill. The stats are, the average North American, I'll say Canada, 1 in 4 Canadians will suffer mental illness in their life. It's the same stat as cancer, by the way. And you all know, if I were to ask you to put your hand up, someone who has had cancer. I don't have to ask, we all know. So if the stat's the same for mental illness, congratulations, all of you know someone in your family, or yourself, or somebody else, who has suffered in their life mental illness. That's not a big issue. It goes up exponentially as your stress goes up. The biggest group that is involved, employees of companies who have been there from 10 to 14 years. Employees of companies who have been there from 10 to 14 years. That would be the managers. That would be middle-aged people who are also the corporate memory of the company. You're in a startup, you lose one, heaven forbid, 2 of those people, but mostly one, your company's done. And you are 1 in 4 risk of that. And in this room with almost 200 people in it, that means there are 50 people here who will or have in their lifetime suffered mental illness. It's a fact, ladies and gentlemen. That's all there is to it. This is very serious. And you're going into one of the most stressful jobs that you're going to have. So if you don't protect yourself from it and your employees eventually, you will be hit with this. It's one of the biggest things that's a problem. The World Health Organization says by 2020, depression will be the #1 cause of economic downturn in our economy. Do not think that you can do this alone. If you need help, ask for it. If you think that you're unsure that you are going to be affected by these things, if you can't get help, you can get help. You must ask for help from somebody. Tony was talking about this earlier. Partnerships are key. The best business book that I've ever read is called The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. The E-Myth Revisited. It's called The Entrepreneurial Myth. It tells why 85% of new businesses fail in their first year, and why 85% of those that make it through the first year fail by year 5. Used to be the Bible on a CBC radio show. It was on at 5:30 in the morning on Calgary. Those of us who heard it know that because either you had to set your alarm for a morning meeting at 5:30 or you hadn't slept all night. And those of you who've been here know. By the way, I don't want to ruin the punchline, but the reason is you. And it tells you what you can do to make sure you're not one of those companies. One of the best books that's out there. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend you go. Get it from the library. You don't have to buy any. Thank you. Second to last one. My second favorite quote is by Michael McClure, a Canadian author. We are the hurdles we leap to be ourselves. We are the hurdles we leap to be ourselves. To be an entrepreneur, you've got to get out of your own way. As Tony said, you've got to be able to grow people, lead people, and let them do the job. It may be your baby, but it can't be your baby who's going to grow up on its own and leave you, and one day it must leave you. My favorite quote is, life is a journey, not a destination. When I grew up, I was told by my parents that there were 7 stages in life. Let's see if we can all remember. You grow up, you get an education, you get a job, you get married, you get a house, you raise a family, you retire, and you die. 8. Did I miss anything? Those are the destinations in life, right? Well, what you have to realize is by the time you get to those destinations, if you've done it right, you're too broken, bruised, out of energy to enjoy it by the time you get there. If you really, really live your life the way you want. It's the journey you have to enjoy. Every single day as an entrepreneur, you can enjoy your life. You can have the best life if this is for you. You have to do a lot of studying, a lot of learning. And for those of you who really want to be here, it is absolutely spectacular. But just like any other job, there are huge upsides and there are huge downsides. Thank you. Those are my lessons.